What's that sound? It's for amusement only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast. Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. Tonight I wanted to talk about a subject that was emailed to me by Rod McLarge, also known as Credit.Pinball. Rod asks, how do I put my melody Add-A-Ball into free play? Now, free play is a subject that I haven't mentioned previously, and that's because there are different methods for each different era of EM, but the basic gist is the same for all of them. Either you are tricking the coin circuit into thinking that a coin has been inserted, or you are telling the max credit indication on the credit reel that the credits are maxed out, and you can, in fact, continue to step. So, on an Add-A-Ball, the issue is that there is no credit reel, and therefore you cannot put it on free play in the same way that you can put a replay game on free play. So, for a Gottlieb Add-A-Ball, my recommendation is, depending on the era, if it's a metal rail from the 1960s or early 1970s, as part of the coin reject mechanism, there is a metal bar which extends underneath of the coin reject lever, which is actuated by the button on the front of the cab. And you can actually bend this up so that it is actuated by the coin reject lever. And then on the bottom, you can actually adjust it so that it closes the coin switch. And this is my preferred method, because all you have to do is push the coin reject. Now, the nice thing about this scenario is that it's reversible. All you have to do is rebend that piece back into shape, and then you're good to go. There's no additional switches that need to be wired in, and you should be good to go. Now, on games where there are multiple plays earned per quarter. So, for example, on my 1971 Papa card, if you insert a quarter, it's selectable whether that gives you one game or two games. Now, there's a little unit inside that keeps track, and it will step down as you push the start button on the front of the game. Now, this unit can be tricked. If you insert a second switch behind the first switch, the start switch, then it will simultaneously coin up and also play a credit. And that would be my preferred method on that particular era. But in this case, Ron is asking about a melody. And melody does not have a start button. It's started by a coin drop. And so my method of bending that particular mechanism to suit your needs works the best, in my opinion. Now, Rod came up with a different method, which I also think is pretty good. He took a micro switch with a long actuator and placed it up high so that it's actuated by the coin reject lever when you push in the coin reject button on the front of the cab. And then he wired that just straight into the coin switch. Now, I like this particular approach for a couple different reasons. The first is that it doesn't actually impact the original wiring in any way. I have certainly seen some free play hacks that would turn your hair gray. I'm generally not in favor of those. But his way doesn't actually modify the cab at all. It doesn't modify the coin door at all. And therefore, since it's non-destructive, I think it's pretty good. Now, a popular method, if you ever go to pick up an EM and you see what looks like a doorbell on it, well, that's actually just a switch. And all it's doing is adding a credit. So somebody's wired that into the coin switch, and they just made it physically on the outside of the machine. The nice thing about putting it on the inside is that you don't have to drill holes into the cabinet. Even if they're small screw holes, it'll never be the same as it was. So why not keep your switch on the inside if you're going to do that? Now, the other thing you could do is just do pure coin drop. Now, the issue with this is that in some instances, the chutes that the coin slot uses are an odd size. For example, a dime. Well, this requires a dime mechanism. There's no other coin that's the same size as a dime. And dime mechanisms are really hard to come by. And therefore, it can be very tricky to get one of those going. So in this case, a free play mod makes a lot of sense. Now, as I've mentioned before in earlier episodes, my Papa card has a free play mod that I have not actually troubleshot before. It's on continuous free play. And I'm guessing that some kind of step down is not happening on the coin unit or step up. And I'm not sure what's causing that. I haven't actually really looked at the schematic and figured that out yet. One day. That's pretty low on my list of priorities, to be honest. But one day I'll figure that out, and I'll certainly report back here. But if you have a Gottlieb Wedgehead and you need to put it on free play, either by bending the small metal rod that's inside to actuate the coin switch, or by installing your own micro switch inside and zip tying it to the bracket on the coin door so that it's actuated by the coin return, I think either of those is certainly acceptable. Well, that's all for tonight. Thank you again for joining me. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me on the Bingos line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, via RSS, on Facebook, Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at nbaldridge. And I just submitted today to Google. So eventually that will show up in Google Play Music for those of you that are Android folks. Or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.